Hi folks, welcome to Crisco's Corner. Unfiltered commentary. Not your truth, the real truth. Please like, share, and subscribe. And as always, thank you for your support. Welcome back. This episode is going to be tough for me because I remember as a young man, I got to high school in 74, and the fall of Saigon was in 1975 in the spring, I believe. Sorry about my voice. My allergies are still kicking my behind, but right now I have a mixture of weird emotions, outrage, and sadness at the same time. It's a weird mix. And this episode is going to be a little bit longer than most because I think this is an incredibly important event in world history and U.S. history. Well, those of you that know that old saying, history is bound, if we don't listen to history, is bound to repeat itself, something like that. And you get the idea that if we don't learn from mistakes of the past, we're doomed to repeat them. This is a classic example. Let's get right to it because I don't want to waste time just gabbing. Top Biden spokesman Jen Psaki, she's the press secretary. She's the face and the voice of the president. Out of the office as the Taliban overrun Afghanistan and take over his presidential palace. Unbelievable. Now, those of you are saying, well, John, you know, the president and everybody else with the communications of today, they can be anywhere in the world and still do their job efficiently. That's true. But in politics and in life, optics are a lot. Decisions you make. You decide to get married and you set a date. And that's when your parents decide to go on vacation to Florida. I live in upstate New York. Yeah, the optics are really bad. Probably not a good idea. Even though you can do that. Even though she can call you at your wedding reception and say your parents love you and wish you a happy life, but they're not there in person. It does matter. On the day of a funeral of a close family member or a loved one, you decide to go out of town and not cancel. But you send a nice thing of flowers and a card, and you call them on their cell phones and give condolences. It's not quite the same. Yes, you do connect with them, and yes, you are sorry. But your vacation was more important, and that's the optics. Optics are everything, especially in politics. And in war, I might add as well. I'm not going to read this whole thing. It's just several articles I'm going to go over. White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki will have to circle back with reporters asking about the Taliban takeover of Afghanistan. An email query from the Washington Examiner sent Sunday evening to President Joe Biden's top spokeswoman prompted an automatic reply that Psaki will be out of the office Sunday through next weekend. Requests for comment included questions about whether plans to address the situation in Afghanistan and take questions from the media. And I'll go through this and you can stop it and read it. Where is Joe Biden? Like, where's Waldo? Remember that? Where's Waldo? We've got to look in the crowd for Waldo. Well, they got to come out with now. Where's Joe Biden? This morning, the president and vice president met with their national security team and senior officials to hear updates on the drawdown of our civilian personnel in Afghanistan, evacuation, and situation in Kabul, the tweet said. The tweet. Do you really feel comfortable? We'll put Joe Biden on the side for a minute. Do you really feel comfortable knowing that Vice President Kamala Harris is being updated and she's right on top of things along with the president? Does that really make you feel warm and fuzzy all over? This is what happens when you're voting not for, but against a president. And I don't want to alienate because there was a lot of good people that voted for Joe Biden, millions. But this is what you voted for. Let's get a few photographs. A few pictures of Just a rough idea of the situation. This is the Taliban sitting at the president of Afghanistan's desk in the presidential palace. These guys look like good guys to you? Seriously? Seriously? Look at the people here rushing to the Pakistani border. That's the Pakistani flag, if I'm not mistaken, in the background. Just like Vietnam. I'm old enough. I got out of high school in 74. Like I said, Saigon fell in 75. It was the biggest embarrassment to U.S. power that I've ever seen. And now it's happened twice in my lifetime. Is it the decline of the United States, or is it the decline of leadership in the United States? And those of you that hate Donald Trump, take note. It would have been much different. Could there have been a cluster blank? Yeah, maybe. But I know it couldn't be worse than this. And look at the tens of thousands of people storming the airport, wanting to get out, whose hearts and minds were changed by the Americans over a 20-year period. And look at these people. A lot of them are young. The American occupation is all they've known their whole lives. And here we go. Chaos in Afghanistan. Taliban commander tells CNN, we believe one day we'll have Islamic law all over the world. We are not in a hurry. Now, interesting enough, here we have the President of the United States can't be on Twitter, but a Taliban spokesperson is. Taliban spokesperson, I couldn't even begin to pronounce his name, has had an active Twitter account since 2017, and over the weekend tweeted live updates as the Islamic militant group stormed the capital of Kabul. Are you effing serious? The Taliban is allowed on Twitter, but not the president, now ex-president of the United States, because a couple asshats in that picture there decided to smash down a door and break in? Really? Really? Let's just click on here on Twitter. And is condemned for letting Taliban spokesman tweet live updates of the militant storming Kabul despite banning Donald Trump over the U.S. Capitol. I'm even going to click that out. This is what you voted for. This is what you voted for. All of you Biden voters. This is what you voted for. For the New York Post, Miranda Devine, Joe Biden's defeat will echo for eternity. And it will. The scenes out of Afghanistan are infuriating and tragically predictable. Like myself, furious and sad. Sad at the tragedy and furious about how it was done. It shouldn't really come as a surprise that President Biden and the geniuses surrounding him have made such an almighty hash of the withdrawal from that godforsaken country. Hash of the withdrawal, Miranda, I think you're great. You're a good reporter. You're great. But you're being too kind. Look at everything else he has messed up. His first act in office was to dismantle hard-won Trump-era border protection measures. Yeah. The inevitable illegal migrant surge of the southern border has turned into an unchecked invasion with national security and public health risks that ricochet through history. At this stage, we can confidently say that Joe Biden has the reverse Midas touch. And Afghanistan didn't have to be like this. There was a quote from Mike Pompeo, former Secretary of State, that they sat down, President Trump too, must have been through it wasn't in person, I believe, it was through a internet connection with one of the head spokesmen of the Taliban. And Trump said in no uncertain terms, one American is hurt. I don't care how minor, and especially if they're killed. You will get the wrath and the full might and power of the United States military on your ass. That's the only way these people respond. They respond to strength. They respond to power. Anything else they consider weakness. Hate Donald Trump all you want, you Biden voters. This is what you voted for. Call him a nut bar. Call him whatever you will. You're dealing with people that aren't rational. You're dealing with people that have no respect for humans, period. No respect for law. No respect for anything. They're zealot extremists. And they're winning. And they were held in check because they feared Donald Trump. Feared him. The president of the most powerful military in the world. And what do we get instead? We get Sleepy Joe. We get Sleepy Joe. Look at this. Look at the traffic jams. This looks like Saigon. They're trying to get out. They're trying to get out. The hearts and minds that we changed. Official, 1,000+ Afghan troops flee as Taliban gains ground. Yeah. Even CNN. Who, by the way, that and MSNBC, but especially CNN, is responsible, at least indirectly, for this cluster blank. By relentlessly going after Donald Trump and letting Joe Biden win by default. They can't be outraged. Verge of unraveling. What are you kidding? On the verge, it is unraveling. And there you have the people that have access to Twitter. There you have the people that Donald Trump had to negotiate with and did so successfully. Maybe it wasn't perfect, but it was the best deal you could have got. Because you idiots took one of the best deal makers in the world and put him out of office. Look at this. Helicopter landing at the U.S. Embassy. They're evacuating people. What of all the tens of thousands of people in Afghanistan, maybe hundreds of thousands, whose hearts and minds you've changed? They're now leaving behind, just like Saigon. Just like Saigon. Let's move on. Biden was caught unawares. That he had the gall on Saturday to blame President Donald Trump. When I came in office, I inherited a deal cut by my predecessor. Yeah, because he said to them, yeah, look on the left there. Excuse me, on the right. As a military plane takes off. Look at them trying to hang on to the plane. These are the hearts and minds that the American people, the Americans, changed. And we're leaving them behind. Leaving them behind. 7 killed at least. We deserted those people just like we deserted the Vietnamese by the hundreds of thousands. Secretary of State Andy Blinken doubled down over the weekend on his dishonest spin. It's time for some home truths. I asked Trump Sunday about the plan his administration had to get out of Afghanistan, which ultimately was obstructed by the same U.S. generals who gave Biden a green light. We are not going to let people get slaughtered, Trump said flatly. I wanted to get out, but you have to get out safely and you have to get out with respect. We had all sorts of conditions. All civilians are going to come out before the military. Everyone should have been out before they took our military out. I was going to close this ridiculous embassy that spent billions of dollars on and move everyone out. I was going to blow up every military base before we left. I was going to take out every single piece of equipment. I said, I don't want anything left to leave each soldier a gun. They just abandoned everything. All the equipment, all the guns, everything, all U.S. are now in the hands of Taliban. Plus, I had a relationship with the Taliban where they knew they weren't allowed to do this. They understood they were going to get hit very hard. What I had was conversations with the Taliban leadership where I said, if you do anything, we are going to hit them like they've never been hit before. Trump said the Taliban no longer fear or respect the United States. True. It's a terrible, terrible black eye for this country. We're a laughing stock, and there's no reason for it. Unbelievable. This is the paragraph I wanted to read before they show this fake picture of Biden, which they find out later has the wrong times on there. Looks like it was March of this year because the daylight savings time hasn't been changed yet, so it's a stock photo. That's just speculation. It doesn't really matter. This is the guy here you voted for. This is what Pompeo said. We never trusted the Taliban, he told Fox on Sunday. We made it abundantly clear we weren't going to allow this to walk away from any deal that they had struck. We're going to crush them. We're going to impose real costs on them. We weren't going to let them take these provincial capitals. They understood that American power was going to come to their village, to their community, to their friends and family. You can bet the Taliban believed Trump would make good on his threat. Yeah, Trump's a madman. Trump's a lunatic. Really? Really? So this is what you have, a feeble old man. And everything's going to crap. It's not Trump's fault. He got handed, he, meaning Donald Trump, a really crappy hand, and he played it the best he could. This genius, look what he did. Nothing. Less than nothing. He just left all the equipment in buildings, left everything. He didn't even blow them up. Didn't even make them so you can't use them again. God knows what kind of equipment these guys have now. All kinds of just technology, laptops and computers and God knows what else. Weapons, vehicles, maybe even tanks. Who the hell knows? All left behind. All usable. That's your strategy, Mr. President? That's your strategy? Really? To leave everything behind? It's insane. You ought to be ashamed of yourself. Ashamed. And there he is, sitting at Camp David, supposedly. Where's all those people? A Zoom meeting? Oh, let me guess. It's COVID. My ass. This is probably an old photo, stock photo. Where is the president? Where is he? Oh, he's on a plane with his wife going to Camp David. How nice. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Look at this. Is amazing. Look at these poor people. Look at them. They believed in us. And we threw them away. Just like in Vietnam. Just like in Vietnam. And this isn't a Democrat-Republican thing, because Gerald Ford's the one that threw him away, and he's a Republican. Those of you not old enough, look it up. We threw him away. We never should have been there for 20 years. There was never a plan. There was never an end game. And Trump wanted to withdraw him. Yeah, there would have been a shitstorm after the fact of withdrawal, but that was going to happen anyway. At least you could have done it in a proper manner. Take out the people that helped you for the last 20 years that were Afghani citizens. No, not now. How many tens of thousands are going to be left behind? You know how many beheadings there's going to be? You know how there's going to be many gang, RAPES, going to go on and then beheaded? These people are monsters. And there it is. There it is. Trying to get into the airport. Tens of thousands of them trying to get in the airport. And there's nowhere to go. They believed in us and they trusted us. And we screwed them again. Again. Unbelievable. But it's not so unbelievable, is it? Here it is, the fall of Saigon. I remember. I was a young man. Just got out of high school the year before. Viet Cong entered Saigon on April 30th, 1975. I got out of high school in June of 74. Marked the end of the Vietnam War. Look at this. Does this look familiar? Here's the helicopter pad. Here's the helicopter pad. Above the embassy trying to get out. And they couldn't get everybody out. They got the Americans out, of course. Some decided to stay, oddly enough. But that's the way it went. And we left tens of thousands behind. And you can read here about the evacuation. Stop the video. I'm not going to go through this whole thing. The North Vietnamese advanced, the evacuation, refugees. While American citizens were generally assured of a simple way to leave the country by just showing up, South Vietnamese who wanted to leave Saigon before it fell often resorted to independent arrangements and like bribing people, and hundreds of thousands didn't get out. It's disgusting. The operation to get people out, the final assault and capitulation. And there it is, folks. And there you have it. History repeating itself. So I ask again. I ask again and again and again. Mr. President, where are you? And what were you thinking? And those, I'll leave you. I'm gonna piss off some Biden voters. And I know millions of you are decent people. You really are. And you try to do the right thing. What were you thinking? What were you thinking? Trump put the fear of God in their asses, and you threw them away. This is what happens when voting not for, but against the president. This is what you end up with. This is what you end up with. Mr. President, President Biden, where are you? And all you're going to do is blame somebody else for your F-ups? You dropped the ball on this one. You should have been evacuating the Afghan people that sided with us, that believed in us, as Trump said first. Destroyed all the buildings and equipment you were going to leave behind so the enemy wouldn't get them, in this case the Taliban and ISIS, and then take out our troops. You would have been the hero if you had done this properly. But instead, you did nothing. And then when the crap hit the fan, you ran away and hid from the American people. Shame on you. And until the next time, goodbye and good luck.